Good morning, Unity. Good morning. Thanks, Mark. How's everybody doing today? We're joined by Larry Wilder. We're going to start off with a little Top of the World.
1, 2, 3. Such a feeling's coming over me. There is wonder in most everything I see. Oh, there's clouds in the sky, but I got the sun in my eye, and I won't be surprised if it's a dream. Everything I want the world to be can be coming true, especially for me. And the reason is clear, the answer is here. It's as near to our hearts as it can be. I'm on the top of the world looking down on creation, and the clearest inspiration I can see is the love that I found in the universe abound. Love has put me at the top of the world. Something in the wind has learned my name, and it's telling me that life can always change. In the leaves, in the trees, and the touch of the breeze, there's a pleasing sense of happiness for me. As we use the power of the mind, and infinity of treasures we will find, and tomorrow will be the best for you and me. All we need awaits our turning of the key. I'm on the top of the world looking down on creation, and the clearest inspiration I can see is the love that I found in the universe abound. Love has put me at the top of the world. I'm on the top of the world looking down on creation, and the clearest inspiration I can see is the love that I found in the universe abound. Love has put me at the top of the world. Love has put me at the top of the world. Good morning.
Thank you, thank you. If you have not met Larry Wilder yet, you just got a taste of his wonderful music. He'll be doing, 100? He'll be playing to 100 audiences this summer with American Cruise Lines. That's part of what he does. And he will be doing a concert here next week. And I'm on the top of the world. Welcome, welcome. How would it be to breathe in and say yes to this essence and this love that we are? We welcome you this morning to Unity Spiritual Center of Portland. Whether you're in this space or you're a part of our virtual family, we know that we are all connected in consciousness, and we are all here to recognize that we are a part of it all, and that we are a part of the love and the life and the presence and the power and the movement of spirit that calls us further, that invites us to go deeper. I'm Reverend Lisa Davis. It's good to be back after 2 weeks. It's wonderful to be home and to be in a place that I believe allows us to open a little bit and to remember who we are. So we're starting. I wanted to share something from Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and I've been working with it over and over again. He says, "We are because we belong. We are. We are a part of humanity. We are a part of this movement of spirit. We are, because we belong to the present, to the future, to all that is. And as we gather this morning, you might think, oh no, I'm different, I'm separate, I'm over here. I don't have those connections. I believe the universe is inviting us into the breath of connection, into the realization that every one of us is a part of it all. So as we begin this service in prayer, if you've felt separate, if you felt what's happening in your life was keeping you apart or away or was too difficult or any of that, I just invite you to open your heart to something larger. This past 2 weeks that I had the great honor of spending in Hawaii, 2/3 of the hotel I was at was displaced Hawaiians. And the ability to sit with people who had lost everything and to hear the love and the connection and the ability to say, it's all of us. We're all going to make it together. Just reminded me who I was and what part I played. And I believe all of us get that opportunity to remember. So as we begin this service in prayer, let's take that deep breath of connection, of love, of remembering. And we open to this idea, saying, Mother, Father, God, infinite spirit, wholeness, the truth of it all. We breathe in that breath of connection. We breathe in a cellular remembering that we are created in wholeness, as wholeness, and the love and the life and the presence that moves through us this day blesses us. It supports us in all that we are to do in our world. And as we gather in this knowing, we breathe into the center and we bring into the center all of those beings that have said, who am I? Where do I go? Or life has not been supporting, it feels like, and we wonder where is the next step? What is it that we do? And we simply breathe in every being, knowing that life, love, presence, and power moves in and through each of us, and that we have all that we need in this moment to do all that is ours to do this day. For this opportunity to gather in this and to say yes to that movement of spirit, we are so blessed. And so it is. Amen. And Beth is up here to share some of life and what's happening here.
Good morning. There is lots happening here all the time. Unity is an affirmative prayer ministry, and it's always my pleasure to introduce our prayer chaplains for the day, which are here to pray with you in person. Today we have Carol and Lynn, and we are blessed to have them to pray with you following the service. If you're not ready for that in-person prayer yet, we do have prayer requests in the backs of the chairs and out on the lobby table. You can fill those out, drop them in our prayer box, and they will be held for 90 days before sent on to Silent Unity. They also create a dial-a-prayer inspirational message that's changed every day, so you can call it 7 days a week if you want, and to get that inspiration if you need a little lift. And they also hold a guided meditation on Sundays at 10:30 a.m. in the chapel before the service. And before the meditation, our own Annette Boswell, who is also a prayer chaplain, leads a 12 Powers adult Sunday school. That begins at 9:45, and they have moved from downstairs up into the chapel. So make a note of that if that's something that you are attending or want to attend. So we've been waiting, but the teen annual book sale starts today. Yes, I know everybody loves this. They get to go dig through the books. So they're down there, and they'll be there for a few weeks. So if for some reason you've missed the announcement to bring your books in, please, you can still bring them in either this week during the week or next Sunday. Because they'll have it set up, they'll have time to get those on the tables that they belong on. And this is their biggest fundraiser of the year, so we appreciate you taking some time to go through and see what kind of books you want and give them a love offering. The Youth and Family Ministry would also like you to know, if you're a parent Next Sunday following the service, they're going to hold a brief informational gathering. Bring your questions or concerns. They want you to know that you will not miss out on the fundraiser luncheon concert that's going to happen after the service next week. So today, immediately following the service here in the sanctuary, the LGBTQ plus and allies group are meeting. They are going to have an informational discussion this morning on how the new Portland city government affects the LGBTQ plus community. I know many of you are very interested in hearing and learning about the changes that are happening in the city of Portland. We are very fortunate to have Olivia Clark as part of our spiritual family to help us stay informed about that. And there will be more opportunities for you to learn how all of these changes are going to affect the city at large. She's going to come back and do a couple of more gatherings and discussions for the entire community. And we will keep you informed on when those are happening so you can attend and stay informed. Yes, wonderful. Thank you, Olivia. The women's group's going to be meeting today also. They're going to start in the chapel following the service. If this is a group that any of you women are interested in joining, please stop in and see what they have planned for today. And at this time, I am going to turn it over to the helping hands for the houseless community, the volunteers who do this wonderful weekly service for our community. Whoop. They're going to tell you a little bit about the upcoming fundraiser that's happening. Let me give them a microphone. Here we go.
First of all, I want to thank you for supporting us in the past, and there's another great opportunity next week with Larry being there also. We've been doing this work for about a year and a half, and so next week, right after service, we're having a baked potato bake, and you're all invited with a $20 ticket. Thank you.
Hi. Right now in Portland, there's a lot of hatred and resentment towards the homeless, and without affordable housing and also drug treatment and also mental health treatment, the houseless program, is going to continue. So here at Unity, I am grateful that I'm part of being a connection. Reverend Lisa talks about a community and a connection, and that's what I feel working with the lunch program has provided for me and for the gratitude that I see coming from all the houseless people that we provide lunches for. Thank you.
This has been just a really wonderful thing working with this group. Not only do we have a bond of love with each other, which makes it a lot of fun to be together, but we all know that we're doing something. For me, it feels like an unconditional thing because there's nobody that comes and says, well, thank you, So it's just a way for me to give that beautiful unconditional love to the community just for the love of being available to help.
Hi, this is near and dear to my heart. I'm so blessed to be a part of this fun group, and we hope that it continues. It's so needed. So with your help next week with our fundraiser, maybe we can continue this, and I hope we can. So thank you.
You guys were great. Thanks.
Thank you all so much. It's really true. It is sacred work that they are doing down there every week, and we would like to see this program continue through next year, and you can help them do that by buying your ticket today following the service out here in the lobby. Okay, it's time to welcome anyone who's with us for the first time. If this is your first time, perhaps you've already received a welcome packet when you came in this morning, but our ushers have some of those right now. If you didn't get one, now's the time to raise your hand. It's full of information about our spiritual center. On the back, there's a neon card. It does have a QR code on it in case you're savvy and can use that. We invite you to do so. But if not, we're happy just to have you write your name and address and your contact information. We will get you on our email newsletter, which comes out each Thursday. And we invite you, there's a rose sticker on the front. We invite you to peel that off and stick it to your name tag. Come downstairs following the service for a little coffee and connection, a little socialization. We think you'll find us a pretty friendly bunch. And anyway, we're so glad that you're here this morning and sharing in our journey. Thank you.
Oops, sorry. I came up the wrong. Thank you, thank you. And I just wanted to tag on with the $20 ticket for this luncheon next week. You also, that's the entrance into the concert. Larry Wilder said, well, what can I do to help in this community? I love to share. And so he said, how about if I do, so we're gonna do a luncheon and a concert, and I just invite you to be a part of it, because what an opportunity to just say yes to something more, a larger picture than we may have thought of.
Thank you, Lisa, for the opportunity. And it's an exciting announcement. Ronco says my Larry Wilder earplugs will be here probably by the concert.
You have Larry Wilder earplugs, okay. For the that's something new. I hadn't heard of that one. Okay, I don't think I have an answer to that one. For all of you who are a part of this community, it's so wonderful for us to gather and remember, oh yes, I connect. I'm learning how to do this, how to be a part of this larger picture. For those of you who are new in this community, if what you hear today and these ideas work for you, I would encourage you to become a part. It's not always easy to walk into something and say, who is it, what do we do? And yet, it's such an important time for us to gather together and say, what can we do that has a larger picture, in this evolutionary movement that we're on, being a part of something larger begins to create that mass and that consciousness that other people can step into. If this community does not work for you, I would encourage you to continue seeking, to find a place that does, because that ability to gather together and create something larger is what actually shifts consciousness, and it's part of what moves us all. So we're happy to have you with us. It's such an important time to get to do that. And so thank you for being here. I also wanted to welcome Reverend Jane Hyatt and her husband. She knows she has to go through this. Reverend Jane is the senior minister at Unity Spiritual Center of Bend, Oregon, and her husband Jeff. So thank you for being here. I won't do it every time, but thank you, Jane, for being here. And we get to stand and sing. Susan has created a new song for us, which is something she does so well, about You Belong. And I just invite you to recognize, look at the eyes around you. We belong to this larger movement of humanity.
Yeah, so this is going to be a new congregational. We're going to hit it next month pretty hard. So I'm going to go over some notes with you to start off. It's very repetitious. So this is the first part, the A section. So I'm going to sing a little bit, and then if you'll repeat after me, the lovely, beautiful singers will be singing your part with you, okay? So, you belong, you're in my heart, you're in my heart, you belong, you're in my life, you're in my life. Perfect. Okay, so that's the entire first A section. And then the B section, it's going to be a call and response. So I'll sing, I see you smile, and then you'll echo it. So you'll learn it as we go along. Okay, you ready? Alrighty, here we go. D, D, ah. So all together. You belong, you're in my heart. You belong, you're in my life. You belong, you're in my heart. You belong, you're in my life. You belong, you're in my heart. You belong, you're in my life. You belong, you're in my heart. You belong. watch you glow. I watch you glow. I feel the love. I feel the love. You belong. You belong. I see you smile. I see you smile. I watch you glow. I watch you glow. I feel the love. I feel the love. You belong. You belong. You belong. You're in my heart. You belong. You're in my life. You belong. You're in my heart. You belong. You're in my life. You belong. You're in my heart. You belong. You're in my life. You belong. You're in my heart. You belong. You're in my life. I see you smile. I see you smile. I watch you glow. I watch you glow. I feel the love. I feel the love. You belong. You belong. I see you smile. I see you smile. I watch you glow. I watch you glow. I feel the love. I feel the love. You belong. You belong. You belong. You're in my heart. You belong. You're in my life. You belong. You're in my heart. You belong. You're in my life. You belong. You're in my heart. You belong. You're in my life. You belong. You're in my heart. You belong. You're in my life. You belong. 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 You guys sounded fantastic. Good job. Good job.
I just invite you to turn to those around you and say, "You belong. Welcome."
Yes, you belong so much. You belong.
was amazing. We may never do a service, but. Wow, the ability to look at another and say you belong is so important right now in our world, because sometimes we've gotten these pictures or we've grown up with this belongs and that doesn't belong, and often we've grown up with an idea that we don't belong. And so as we've said it out here and we've said you belong, we're moving into a time of meditation, which I believe is part of that breath. It's that in-breath of getting quiet and listening, but it's also a part of recognizing I belong. And if you haven't said I belong yet, I just invite you to just listen to this music as we begin this time of meditation and just open to this larger idea.
Namaste, namaste. I see the beauty in you. 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 Last time. Namaste, namaste. I see the beauty in you.
As we continue breathing that in, namaste. That divine in me recognizes the divine in the world, in the other. And I turn that idea within, letting go, letting the infinite presence and power move through me. And I direct that idea, namaste, within. The divine as me greets the divine in me. I am one with the divine. I breathe this in. I allow it to move throughout my being. Namaste. The divine as me greets the divine in me. In the silence, in the silence. And from this place of knowing I am that I am, moves in and through and as me, I recognize the beauty in my life, in this day, the opportunity to know I am connected to it all. I simply say, thank you, Infinite Spirit. And so it is. Amen.
Namaste, namaste. I see the beauty in you. 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 I will listen, direct my path. I have vision for what's at hand. I am quiet, I can hear so clearly. Oh, sweet spirit, my life is blessed. I set my eye on the glory. I set my heart on the love. My life is filled with your presence. I move into your heavenly bliss. I awaken to the future. I send blessings to the past. I am now filled with reassurance. Oh, sweet spirit, my life is blessed. I set my eye on the glory. I set my heart on the love. My life is filled with your presence. I move into your heavenly bliss. I set my eye on the glory. I set my heart on the love. My life is filled with your presence. I move into your heavenly bliss. I will listen, direct my path. I have vision for what's at hand. I am quiet, I can hear so clearly. Oh, sweet spirit, my life is blessed. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, this idea of sweet spirit, my life is blessed. Can we take that in? Can we breathe that in? Life is happening in a lot of different ways right now. And we're looking at different things that happen and saying, is there really good? Is there really God? Is there really something larger that's happening? And that's our life journey. we were so blessed to have Reverend Curdy here for 2 weeks. We're actually in the second week of what I'm calling, for me, a 5-week series on belonging. Because one of the things that I know is that for us to belong in a world and to belong to each other means that we're a part of a movement of something larger. And you'll hear me talking about that a lot. The reason we're doing it now is because Easter's early. It's the end of March. So we're actually about 5 weeks away from Easter this year. And I was like, what? Okay, I guess we're doing it now. But I want to talk about it because one of the number one things that, as I was looking at this topic, and I've said it a couple times, I think I own every book on belonging, as I spent a year looking at this idea that has been published, some of which I've already given away, but I just keep gathering it. But one of the things that it says is for our mental health right now, one of the things we can do is to connect to something larger than ourselves, and the other is to make at least one friend a year. Now that's not much. It's like to make one friend a year. That's what right now they're saying would help all of us. And that the parts of our brain that got a little smaller during the pandemic of connection, and they actually did, that we need to rebuild them. And we do that by being in community. But also, in the book that I've been working with, and I know a few of you have gotten it and said, this is really complicated. It's called The Not Yet God. And it's about the idea from Ilia Delio of what we're creating as humanity, which is an inclusive, understanding essence. And you might not call it God, but whatever it is, where we're going, where humanity is opening to, is the idea that there's something larger, and that something larger is connected and everybody's included. Imagine that. How many of us grew up in a world with a God view where everybody was connected and everybody was included? There has to be somebody. Okay, we have one or two people. We had one or two people. While I was in Hawaii, I met a woman. It was a fascinating experience, and I will probably cry. It was a life-changing time to be in a place where so many people had lost everything. They'd had 6 months to start pulling it together. Many still were. But one of the people that I met she said, I'm the wife of Uncle Russell. Now, I didn't exactly know what that was until in my walks. I took 2-hour walks every morning, and I went onto a beach where there were tents and people that had chosen not to go into the hotels, but were creating their own life in their own world. He had come from Hana, Uncle Russell's Huli Huli Chicken, and he owned a restaurant, and he went out into the beach in Hana and fed people at least once a week. He had taken his wagon, he had driven over from Hana to Kaanapali Beach where we were, and literally he was feeding anyone who had been displaced from the fires. And it was a beautiful sight. I got up and it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, and he has this huge wagon it has chickens on it all the way, and it was a gas thing, and he was starting that in the morning, and you couldn't miss the smell. Well, I met her on the way to the bathroom, and I said, what's happening over there? Because there wasn't a sign. She goes, I'm Uncle Russell's wife, and so we started talking, and she said, who are you? And I said, well, I'm just someone who is here on vacation, so I'm one of the tourists, who's probably not the most popular thing. And we started talking, and I finally said, I'm a minister. She goes, well, I believe that everyone is included in this. My Hawaiian story says that everyone's included. And I said, so does mine. And she stopped. She goes, really? And I said, yes. And so we started talking about Hawaiian values and ideas and basically what New Thought or Unity has. And I thought, they're the same. She said, we believe everyone's connected, and we've forgotten that. And so she said, when we said, what can we do for others, we realized that we could bring our love. She said, it's not the chicken, it's the love. And I had seen them, I saw them Friday morning. Then Saturday night, by that time, there was a whole band that played, and Lahaina Strong was there, and all these people were there. And literally, they had food that they had already prepared for this Lahaina Strong event, and everybody was running over to Uncle Russell's Chicken. And they had these huge rice cookers, and they had huge coolers of mac salad, and let me tell you, they were all running over there, and including the volunteers who were putting up the Lahaina Strong event. It was just hilarious to watch, and I was just walking through. Again, I just kept taking these walks and watching what was happening when humanity said there's something more. And so this idea of belonging, she said, we just want to bring our love. We have love that we can bring. What would happen if every one of us realized we belong? And part of the conversation was we're a part of it all, and we've been told something different. Interestingly enough, the title for today's message was The Delusion of Separation, because we've been raised with this delusion that we're separate. And belonging is one of our most innate urges. It's who we are, and that desire to connect is one of the most important things that we can allow to express and that we can develop and work with. Now, our old model of success, and it's with competition, and it's about, I have this and this and this, I have this degree, I have this type of thing, I have this. And what they had realized in Hawaii and so many other places was nothing matters except how we're connected and who we are and how much love we can share. And that was the message. And I was with people who had lost family members, and nothing mattered. Some of them didn't have one item left from their home. But they said, what's important is each other. It's us. It's who we are. And so realizing that our innate urge to belong and be a part was often taken out by old beliefs and old ideas. Now, Ilia Delio says it's an old view of God. And she uses the work of Pierre Teilhard de Chardin and Carl Jung and puts these together and says, actually, but we're moving to a place where we have to find this, as she calls it, the not yet God. Now, in New Thought, we've had a God that didn't judge, that didn't say you're in or you're out. But for many, we're working to allow that to download into our being so that we live that idea and that story. And so the concept of this idea that there is a delusion of separation, we have to first of all identify, oh my gosh, I'm feeling separate. My true nature is belonging, but it's been installed in this computer that we have. And so I've been running an old program of I'm separate. So how do I unrun that program? Rick Hansen talks about it with Buddha's Brain, I believe is the book that it's in, where he talks about how you recreate, and you create new brainwave patterns. Part of it has to be being a part of the knowing I belong. We have to begin using that. And when our world looks like it doesn't belong, we get to do it again. Because, and this is, I'm using Sebene Selassie's You Belong. At the heart of not belonging is a delusion of separation. And the delusion of separation, according to her, is the belief that you are separate from other people, from other beings, and from nature itself. And we have to be able to identify it as a delusion. And so how can we look at our lives, and when we get really upset and say, I'm not connected to anybody. I don't have what they have. I don't live in that world. I'm not a part of that. How can I ever belong? Can we begin saying, honey, that's a delusion? Or, mister, that's enough. That's a delusion. That's not the truth. That's not who I am. You're not separate. We never were. She says, you are not separate. You never were. You never will be. Yes, you have a body and a history. You have a unique biography that makes you who you are as an individual, including all of your anxieties and all of your identities, and yet you are not separate. You never have been, you never will be, and that there instead is this delusion. And this delusion is what we get to deal with and look at and change. And it's a paradox. We've had trauma. Everybody has. There's oppression, there's injustice, and there are communities, and she says this, particular communities are targeted and terrorized. And remember, she was a a gay black woman living in a white world. And she said, I didn't belong anywhere, I thought, until I finally realized I belonged everywhere. And she said that was the huge shift for her. And she said, some people share their light. Some people go after others and they continually cultivate hatred. There's differences, but that still doesn't make you separate from them or the world. And yet we've thought, I gotta hold a place. I have to create this. And she said, how can we, all of us, acknowledge the differences and the inequities and yet hold a firm conviction that fundamentally we are all irrevocably interconnected and belong to each other? Now, in Buddhism, and her answer comes from Buddhism, but I want to go back to Charles Fillmore because he was one of the co-founders of Unity, and every New Thought leader, every Ernest Holmes had these ideas. Mary Baker Eddy, who started Christian Science, all of them worked with this idea. There is an absolute and there is a relative. And in Buddhism, they call these the doctrine of two truths. That is, that the absolute or ultimate truth of interconnection and the relative or conventional truth of difference. And so they're saying there's an absolute world. And we have to be able to identify that. We have to be able to say, even though all these things are happening in my life, I know I am created by this presence and power, whatever we want to call this not yet God. And by the way, she said I would get the word God out of my title if I could, but nobody could figure out a better word that explains what I'm talking about. But we have to be able to recognize that's the truth. And that means that's the truth of every one of us in this room, of every being breathing everywhere. There's nobody that's separate. And Uncle Russell's wife, which she told me her name and I couldn't even pronounce it the first time, nor could my brain understand it because it had at least 3 words in it. And I asked her if she could, I said, could I write it down? I have my phone right here. And she goes, I have to go back and cook chicken. We have to get ready. We have 4 more hours. And so I didn't, but when she talked about every one of us belongs to everyone else. And she looked at me and she said, you belong to me. We'll never be separate. And I just thought, wow, that's a belief. She said, that's my Hawaiian belief. And that's what we get to realize is, in some ways, we've been taught beliefs that do not see the absolute. They see the relative, and they had a lot of rules and a lot of ideas of what this world should look like. But they didn't include that. And so our first part of getting out of the delusion of separation is to be able to say there's 2 truths. And while my relative truth may not be what I want it to be, I mean, my relative truth right now is that my suitcase hasn't been touched or unpacked. My room is an absolute mess. I haven't gotten the sleep I need to get, but I'm very grateful because I'm here. I'm in the midst of absolute love and people I adore, and I'm so grateful, and I hope I get a nap at some point. I mean, that's my relative truth. That's where that is. But the absolute truth is that every one of us right here in this space has enough energy and life and power to transform our lives, to know that we're a part of the one, and to know that everyone around us is. We may not understand them, we may not know where they are, but literally everything is connected. So this paradox is that everything is connected, and yet everything is experienced as separate. And we get to evolve enough that we can say, it's all interconnected. I just don't know where the connection, I don't see them yet. I'm experiencing it as separate, but the truth is it's interconnected. So when we do that, then we find that something larger is there. She also goes on to say, by the way, absolute truth is the true nature of life and humanity, and it's the true nature of the relative. And that may sound strange, but she said, the relative truth is the manifestation of our lives to this point. And it will change as we change. As we as humanity create that not yet God that's inclusive and that loves, and we get to be the founding people to do that, then literally we find a larger world. Seventy Selassie says, denying either side of this paradox leads to not belonging. If I say there's only absolute, my dad used to say all the time to my mother, Billy, do not be so heavenly that you're of no earthly good. we want. And he said it all the time. And, you know, my sister used to say it when she was growing up. I had a sister that was 12 years younger than me, so she was home a lot more. And she used to just say, Mom, save it for Sundays. And that was what she got. But my dad had a very, you know, so we can live in the absolute, but it's really hard to pay your bills and to keep track of what's going on. So we get to touch in with that absolute, and I would like to be able to live in the absolute. This is my intention for every one of us here, that we live in the absolute and we carry it with us into the relative, so that when we're in that relative, we see something more. We see the larger. And she says, our collective freedom depends on us remembering that we belong to everything and allowing others to do the same, to be a part of it, and yet to know there's something more. Now, how do we do that in our own lives? You know, yesterday I had the great honor of being part of a service, and I want to share a little bit about that. We haven't gotten to do much with Black History Month, and I had an example, and I do want to share that. And then I want to go on to this, because how do we live these ideas? How do we bring the absolute underlying idea that we belong into our relative world? And the first one I want to share about is one that I had looked up and I had gotten all ready before we left. In 1847, John Barry Meacham was forced to close the school he'd been operating in a St. Louis church basement. He was both an educator and he was a minister in this little church he had started. And as a Black man, it was illegal to teach other Blacks or anyone who was anything but white, was classified as white, and that was a very interesting thing, to read or write. And this was in St. Louis, Missouri. And so he was finally arrested for it, and they shut down the school. And do you know what he did? He went and bought an old steamboat. And once they could get it to float, he parked it in the middle of the Mississippi River and placed it under the authority of the federal government, where it wasn't against the law. And with a little skiff, they put hundreds of students onto that boat where they learned to read and write for years. I love that. What does it take for somebody who I can guarantee you has been told his whole life, you don't belong, you don't have a place here, in St. Louis, Missouri, to say, well, I believe differently? He had a vision that this was what he was to do. What's interesting is some of the people he taught. One of them was a gentleman who went on to open 30 schools for Black students in Missouri as soon as, you know, the law eventually was taken away, which is interesting in and of itself. But I looked at that and I thought, it's vision. You and I get to have a vision that when we think the relative world is knocking us down, can we hold on to an idea, I belong to the larger picture of what's happening? And what I do, now this is a big story, what I do touches the world, and it does. But it also, there's places where these smaller stories, and we think, I have a feeling most of us in here think we're pretty small stories. Like, how can I touch? I don't own a steamboat. You know, what am I going to be able to do? How do I touch enough lives to do that? What I realized yesterday as I got to do it was a great honor to do the memorial service. One of our congregants, Sharon Mitchell, she taught the cast class. She has been, she's taught, I think even in Bend, she has worked with ending the systems of racism and the classes that were taught here in this community. As a Black woman, one of the things that she experienced was being fired from one of the local stations, TV stations, because they considered Black skin too difficult to light. And during all of this that was going on, they actually did a formal apology to her. But she's had the courage to stand up. Her mother passed away. We did a service in here. And I asked her if I could use this, but what I realized is the real story about Black History Month happened yesterday in this space with 40, 50 people whose lives had been touched by one person who said, I can do something more. And it was actually Sharon's grandmother. Her mother was a part of it also. But I want to talk about it because when I realized what went on, Anna Lee Johnson was born early in the 1900s. She had 6 children. And when they were very young, in Minnesota, her husband left. And there she was as a black single mother with 6 children, the youngest 2, I think the oldest about 8 or 9. And literally they tried to take her children, and she said, no, we're going to find something more. And this story that I was in a room full of her descendants, and with many other on live stream, and we're so grateful. Thank you, Pam and Leah and all of those who are in this space. But Anna Lee, and this is Sharon's wording, she said, in my heart and understanding is the source of all of our greatness and the legacy we as her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren have inherited. I haven't had enough sleep not to cry, so I apologize. Usually I can practice this out. But she said, our family is the result of one woman who said, I'm not losing my kids, and we're going to make it. And every one of those 6 kids had to go out and find a way to make money. Sharon's mother, Anna Louise, went out and ironed curtains for the rich people who lived down the street and further away. And they all found ways. And Anna Lee worked 2 jobs, morning and evening, every day of the week, in order to keep her family together. And there were the things that she shared and that everyone in this space, and so many of them talked about, were strength. She learned to survive with the courage to believe that family could hold family together. And what was fascinating is that in this room was the same story. Her 6 kids, this was the last one of her children to pass on, had passed it on to their kids. And it was being passed on to their grandkids. And it was the qualities of spirit that say, I'm more than what's happening to me. I'm more than this event. And they spoke of a freeway being brought in that divided the black community in this town in Minnesota and what had happened, all the things that had happened. But the response was, we're going to do this. We're important. And this is how we do it. And they had the courage to meet life in that way. What does that mean to us? What can we learn? I just looked at that and I thought, these are the answers of belonging. And you might think, oh, I can't affect this person or this person. What several of the people told me in Hawaii is, we're not family with those who are blood. We're family with everybody in our circle. And our circle is larger today than it was 6 months ago before those fires. And as I spoke to a single mom whose daughter goes to Lahaina Luna High School, she said, my daughter won't leave. I have the privilege. I have family in California. We could move. You know, we're living in a hotel and she's working 2 jobs. But she said, my daughter won't leave because finally in high school, all of the ideas of who's prettier and who has a boyfriend and who doesn't have a boyfriend, they all left. And they're all so connected. She said, you would take my whole life if you took these people. And what I realized is we're the people. We're the ones right here in this space, right here where we are, right here in humanity. And you may feel like, well, I'm separate. There's only this person, or my family doesn't have what it needs. Join families. As I walked along those tents, you could see some of them moving them together. And by the way, several of them said they didn't want to leave because they had an oceanfront view. And I have to say they did. They were 20 feet from the ocean looking at it. And I was like, wow, this would be a hard one to leave also. But they started gathering for breakfast. And one of the guys was teaching chess. And several of the guys, the last day I asked one of the guys, I'm like, so how's it going with this chess? He goes, I'm never going to learn it. But he said, that guy wants to teach it. So I'll let him keep thinking that I'm going to learn it. I just had to love, because I thought this guy teaching it was beautiful. He was making hats and teaching chess to anybody who needed a hat for shade or wanted to learn chess. I just looked, humanity has what it needs right now. And the interesting thing is, if Anna Lee had said, this is too much for me, hundreds and hundreds of people would not be who they were today. It only takes one life that we touch that touches another and touches another. And I watched that and I thought, that's who we are. We're the humanity that knows we belong and has the courage to share it with another. So I just invite you this week to look at this old idea that I'm separate and to clarify that it's a delusion and willingly and lovingly claim I belong and have the courage to touch another life and remind them they do also. Thank you. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. I am so blessed. Oh. And it is wonderful to be home. I learned how wonderful it is to sleep in a bed with nobody else in the room. The four of us make a lot of noise. So, sometimes we could say, thank you, God, just for this or this or this. It's our time to receive our tithes and our love offerings, to just be a part of this community and how we connect and what we're able to do as a community. The helping hands for the houseless. It's so important what they do. It's so important what happens down in the downstairs with our youth and all these different places. But we have that opportunity. There's a slide up here that shows different ways you can give. Many of you are on automatic giving, and I would encourage you. One of the things I know is that even when I'm on vacation, that giving happens, and it's something that, especially as we move into summer, what a difference it makes in this community. So I'd invite you to think about that. And we are going to also, and by the way, there's a little blue card in front of you. If you don't have that, if it's too far away there, you can look at that blue card in front of you. And I want to talk about our blessing, because divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive is a huge knowing. Divine love is the truth of who you are. We belong to that love. And so let's just say this together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And we just say, thank you, Infinite Spirit.
We're community with good vibration. Yep, that's right. Community with good vibration. We get faith and direction for spiritual connection. We're a community with good vibration. Now Sunday morning wisdom coming down. Yeah. Well, Sunday morning wisdom coming down. We get enlightenment and learning for what our souls are yearning. Sunday morning wisdom coming down. We're community with good vibration. We're community with good vibration. We get faith and direction for spiritual connection. We're community with good vibration. We're open to the truth and the light. Oh, we're open to the truth and the light. We are open day and night. Change your thinking, change your life. We are open to the truth and the light. We're community with good vibration. There it is, yeah. We're community with good vibration. We get faith and direction for spiritual connection. We're community with good vibration. We are born to be in unity. Yep. We are born to be in unity. Indigenous, LGBTQ, Black, Latino, Asian, me and you. We are born to be in unity. Let me hear you now. We are unity with good vibration.
Unity with good vibrations.
We get faith and direction for spiritual connection. We're community with good vibration. You know, women got unity and soul. That's right. Women got unity and soul. How about ERA, good heavens, or maybe number 47? You women got unity and soul. Let me hear you now. We got unity with good vibration. We're community with good vibration. We got faith and connection for spiritual connection. Unity with good vibration. We're community with good vibration. We're community with good vibration. We get faith and direction for spiritual connection. Community with good vibration. We're community with good vibration. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. So now you know what you're in for. You know, he throws out different names every so often. He goes, yeah, I played with Andy Griffin. I played with this person. I played for them. I was the yodeling champion in the United States at one point. You know, all the important things. So, Larry, thank you.
That's why we have the earplugs.
That's why we need the earplugs. Okay, he didn't say he was yodeling next week, but we'll find out. Do you know, part of being connected is realizing we are a part of other beings' existence. We're going to sing our youth in just a moment, and I am inviting you to create an energy field into which they walk. They can feel it. Their hearts know it. Oh, yes, I'm more than this. And so as we sing in our youth, just remember, they are the whole creations of the infinite, here in perfect expression, just as they are. So we're going to sing them in.
You are the star of the morning. You are heaven smiling at us. You're God's gift of tomorrow. Oh, how we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the star of the morning. You are heaven smiling at us. You're God's gift of tomorrow. Smiling at us, you're God's gift of tomorrow. Oh, how we love you. Oh, how we love you.
So the Uniteens were finishing up, and today we talked about what did we talk about? Unconditional, the unword, unconditional love, and this is what they made for that. These are going to go up on the, hold it up.
And if you can't see, they have the 12 powers in them. That one is love?
Well, this one is love.
Yes.
And we're going to be putting them on the windows out there when we figure out how to hang them.
Today, we read a book about the invisible string that it connects to people that we love, and we can feel it in our heart, but we can't see the string because it's in our heart, and we made our own strings.
And so these are people they love. All right. Thank you, thank you. And part of what we get to do today is to honor some of the staff that are here, who have been here for a long time. It often looks like things just happen so easily. And I know sometimes they say, what else do you have to do other than, just Sunday morning? Well, the staff knows all of these pieces. And I just want to say, we have a community that has such strength in it. And so I wanted to invite up, starting with Alice. Is Alice in? So Alice, for those who may not know. Oh, good, you got hers. And Alice, we're going to have you go up on stage just so we can see you also. But Alice has been unpaid full-time staff for over, 4 decades now? I mean, this is like a long, long time. And she continues to just do so many blessings. Can we get up there? Let's see. You want to take them up? Are you able to thank you. We did not buy you flowers because I know you wouldn't want them. So we got you something for your garden. I've learned. Yes. We want to say thank you, thank you. And we have Barbara, who has been here with our youth and family ministry for over 2 decades, sharing with our youth. And yes, you have to go up here. Here's your flowers. And she has done it in many other Unity centers besides here. It has been her lifelong journey doing that, and I'm so grateful for that and for the ideas. Leah Rose has been here. I have down 12 years and 14 years, so I think it's 14. It's 14, but that's, she has been here doing our sound for that long. I mean, yes, and please hear me. I mean, these are long-term people. You have to go up on the, okay, all right, okay. And I want to call Beth up, who, while she's been here 3 years, she had 21 years at the Unity in Virginia, and so in Roanoke. So Beth who is here full-time. And I want you to understand the decades of love that beings have shared in this community, and we're so, so grateful. We also have Pam, who's been here since the pandemic, up doing the live stream and is choosing not to come down. But we have flowers for you, thank you. And for those of you who don't know, Dixie has just started. She started as unpaid staff and now is on paid staff with our rentals. So Dixie has also just started, and we're so happy to have you here. So thank you. But please know, while this staff, we have flowers. While this staff is not as large as it was before the pandemic, they do the same amount of work or more. And so, more. Okay, I said it wrong. So please I just invite all of us to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Pam. So they'll be going to a luncheon this afternoon, but I invite you to go downstairs. There's a cake. Leah, thank you for coming up front. I think it's the first time she's ever done that in 14 years, so thank you. I'm so grateful. But I invite you to go downstairs for Connection Hour, for some of the opportunity to just thank them as we do this. By the way, Bill, it's good to have you back in church. I'm glad you're up and moving. So thank you. Thank you, thank you. We are going to stand and set that intention for peace on our planet and in our lives.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all
Oh, yes. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let's join together in our unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And we just say, thank you, God. We're going to sing our youth out with thank you, God, I think.
No, it's called the light.
I'm gonna move to the light. I'm gonna speak of the light. I'm gonna sing with the light. I'm gonna dance in the light. When I choose to remember that Spirit is all, I rejoice and give praise and shine in the light. I'm gonna move to the light. I'm gonna speak of the light. I'm gonna sing with the light. I'm gonna dance in the light. When I choose to remember that Spirit is all, I rejoice and give praise and shine in the light. When I choose to remember that Spirit is all, I rejoice and give praise, and I shine in the light, yeah, shine in the light, oh, shine.